Yo, Eternity Season 2 is about to start, and with that, a lot of people are going to be getting back into the game, playing some rank or some norms, and might be looking to play some new characters. In some of the previous videos, I've already talked about the characters' difficulties and their playstyles, but this time, I decided to dive a little bit deeper into each one of these characters and sell them to you, so you might want to pick them up. Today, I'm going to be starting with the tanks characters, so without further ado, let's get into the video. So starting us off, we have Magnus. I'm going to be rating each of these characters based on the 6 traits, and I'm going to be rating them from green, which is good, to yellow, which is okay, to red, which is bad. If we look at Magnus, his CC and PO are going to be on okay tier, because while he does have pretty good CC and PO with his tools that he has offered, these are limited to his terrain, because he does have to work with the wall stun. His engage is going to be a pretty good one. Whenever he has that bike available to him, he's going to be able to just go right in and get into the fight. His uptime, due to that though, because he wants to have his bike available to him, will be slightly lower, it will be just okay. He has really good damage for a tank. If he gets to a backline and he sits on top of them, he can easily kill them by himself, even though he's a tank. And his mobility, once again, it's going to be tied to that bike, so if he doesn't have the bike available, it won't be nearly as good. If I want to say something unique about Magnus, would be his extra tenacity that he gets when he's spinning, which could be pretty hard to deal with for a lot of teams. So that would be Magnus. Next up we have 11. So 11, for the most part, her CC will be on okay, because while her taunt is a very strong CC that can get multiple people, and it's pretty easy to land as well. You do need to charge it up, so it is also pretty predictable and easy to dodge. But while you're peeling someone, it could be really strong, so her peel will be really good. Her engage and her mobility go tied in together, because her E, being such a massive dash that can just go over everything and be unstoppable while doing so, will grant her really good engage and mobility. Meanwhile, her uptime won't be that good, because she does require her ultimate to be really tanky. She needs all that healing, otherwise she would be in trouble in the front lines. And her damage is not very good. It's kind of like what would you expect from a tank. She can still damage squishies pretty hard, but not to a degree of other tanks. Now we have Markus. Markus overall, his CC and P won't be that amazing. The bulk of his big CC, it will be in his engage with his ultimate. Even though he does require his ultimate for an amazing engage, he does have pretty good uptime regardless. He can do a lot with the rest of his abilities on his kit, so his uptime is good. He also has pretty good damage for a tank. Although his mobility is a bit limited, it's still pretty good. It's okay, so you still have there. And yeah, his biggest unique thing would be that his ult actually allows him to set up for really good combos with different characters. So you should look into comboing with them if you have one in your team. Next up we have Elena. As you can see, Elena has a lot of things. Her CC overall is super good. Unfortunately, a lot of it is not instantaneous, and you do have to charge it up. So her peel and her engage are not going to be amazing, but they're still okay. She's really tanky, so she can kind of just go in. Her uptime, she has abilities at all times. Even without her ultimate, she can still do quite a bit, so her uptime is amazing. She does quite a bit of damage as well, so that's good there. And her mobility, it's probably unrivaled by most tanks. I would say she has one of the best mobilities in the game. She's really hard to catch, and even mid-fight, she's moving a lot. So she's definitely one of the better tanks out there. Now we see Lenox. So Lenox CC overall is pretty good. She has a pretty low cooldown on 2 abilities. You can technically dodge. One of them is her hook, which will be her main engage tool. So engage, it may be a little bit iffy, but if you do land a hook on someone important, it could be pretty good. It's her most unique thing, the ability to hook people, as well as her peeling being really good. She is really good at peeling with her abilities, pretty much something like a Thresh in my imagination. That's how I think about it. She can always flow people out and protect people in the backline. She has pretty good uptime for the most part with her abilities, pretty low cooldowns. She doesn't have much damage, but if you land her ultimate on someone and they move, then they will take a lot of damage. So it all depends on who do you land your ultimate. If you land a good ult or not, your damage will be tied to that. So you want to make sure you're aiming that correctly. But her mobility, unfortunately, is really bad. She has pretty much 0 mobility tools, so that it will be her main weakness. Next, we have a bit of a weird one with Xiukai. As you can see, I put everything in okay here. He does have pretty good CC, pretty good peel using his CC tools. His engage and uptime. His engage is pretty slow overall, so I can't say it's amazing. And his uptime is also, if he has the ability to update, they don't have like the longest cooldowns, but they're also not super short. He does pretty decent damage, but nothing super crazy. And his mobility can get body blocked, so it's not super good. But I want to say his unique trait for him will be that he can do a lot of utility for his team while being a tank. He can defense shred the enemy, he can slow them so the enemy damages them. He can also heal the allies with his abilities, which is pretty huge if you're in a poke war. And you have a Xiukai on your team, he can keep healing you, that way you don't lose the poke war. And as well as he also can cook food for your team, so you have better healing food than the enemy. Next up we have Estelle. As you can see, Estelle has a lot of CC, a lot of peel. For the most part, her CC is very point and click, very good. She's probably the queen of peeling because of her ultimate as well, that she can just put a massive shield on any of the teammates and then go ahead and knock everyone up. So she's amazing at peeling someone. If you're playing like an ADC or something and you just want to feel safe, having one of these on your team would be amazing. Her engagement uptime, because of her ultimate being so strong, you pretty much want to fight when she has it up. So that's going to be her main thing with uptime. Engaging is not terrible, but for the most part, she might take too much damage going forward and use too many of her cooldowns doing so it's not amazing. She does have pretty good damage though. She can build pretty decent damage and still be really tanky. And she has pretty decent mobility, but it can get body blocked, so that's another thing. In terms of her unique trait, her passive allows her to revive someone really quickly, and then it goes on cooldown. So it can help you turn fights where maybe you trade it 1-for-1 and now it's a 2v2. You can quickly revive your teammate before the enemy does so, and then make it a 3v2. So it's pretty important that you remember that. Next up we have Mai. CC and peel, pretty decent. I would say her peel, it's mainly reliant on the fact that whether or not she can ult, because she can taunt her enemies. It's a main CC, but her ult allows her to pull a teammate towards her, which can be pretty helpful in order to save them. Her engage is pretty good. Combined with her mobility, she can hop onto wards and do a pretty long dash that will taunt the enemies. It's her main thing as a tank. She has a really good engage. And then her uptime will pretty much be determined on whether or not she has her taunt up. It's not bad, it's not good. It's pretty good, I would say, but it's just okay. Her damage, it's not anything amazing, but it's there. It's a tank, what you would expect. As her unique trait, I would say she has Orn passive if you play League, which means you can make enhanced versions of items for your teammates and craft them. Those are items only she can make, and overall they help your teammates do more damage, be more tanky, etc., depending on what items you craft for them. Next up we have Echion. I was honestly debating whether or not putting Echion as a bruiser or a tank, but considering how tanky this guy is, I just cannot put him on anything with a tank. With this said, his peel and CC is pretty bad. Main way for him to CC is to punish enemies who stand still, but if the enemy is moving at all times, it should be pretty hard for people to get CC and knocked out by his ultimate, making his peel and his CC pretty worthless. With that said, he has probably the only mobility that can rival Elena, dashing through all the enemies while dealing pretty good damage. And his engage, well, he doesn't have any hard CC to go in. He can kind of just dash in, and he's tanky enough and has enough mobility to where he won't die, making it pretty good. Outside of that too, well, his uptime, I did level it as green. He has a pretty clear downtime window when he goes out of rage, where you can punish him, but I think the window is so small, I can't lower his uptime anything lower than green. I think it's still green even though his downtime window is really bad, like he's a really bad character doing it. But for the most part, it's a very small window. And last but not least, one of the newer additions to Lumia Island, we have Alonso. Alonso CC, pretty good for the most part. Has, can pull everyone together, can stun, can brute. His peel is nothing super crazy, but it's okay. His engage is probably what defines his character. He pretty much gets a free engage. He just points at someone, goes in, roots them, then stuns them, and nothing you can do really to stop it. realistically. As his unique trait, I would say he has the passive, which gives him a spell shield. So the first CC you try to apply on him, he will you can't do anything about it. He will just eat it. So for the most part, that is that. His biggest bad thing about him will be his mobility. He is pretty much fully mobile. He can't really do much to go around in a fight or out of a fight. So he's pretty bad at staying alive and surviving because of that. But outside of that, he's a wonderful tank that will give you a free engage. With that said, hopefully you guys learned something in this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below which next archetype you would like to know more about, whether it's mages or ADCs, etc. And I will cover it in a future video. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.